I've got some volunteers who are going to be playing as players in situations I'm going to be involved as well. I'm going to be soliciting some volunteers from the audience to be judges. As you are answering these judge calls, remember to be loud enough so that the audience as well can hear you. If that's a problem, we do have a microphone, so that way everybody can hear you. Beyond that, if in this situation you feel like you need another judge to assist you with this call, just call over another judge. We got a whole bunch of judges here. This is going to be somewhat improv, so but basically just we're going to be taking calls as though it were a real call. So for this first one, I'm going to need 2 volunteers. Eli, and I'm sorry, what's your name?
Chris.
Chris, come on down.
Question.
Yes.
What is most important about what we're using in this situation?
For the most part, we're going to assume competitive.
What format are we playing?
It doesn't matter.
All right.
What makes you
Which means extended. Oh.
Scissors improperly determined culture. All right. So, I'm so bad at this game. All right. Well, Joe has 2 Swiss spears on board. One of them has an enchantment. I currently have a mox opal and a springleaf drum, and all my other creatures have died. I am in deep crap.
Wow, what a scrum.
I am just wait. All right. Good scrum. All right. Okay. So mox opal, legend trigger on the stack. I'm going to tap these for mana.
That's not how that works.
No, they changed the legend rule like last year.
No, they did, but the way the legend rule works is that it just happens. So it's not a trigger.
Why don't we just get a judge? Judge. Hey, my name's Eli. How can I help you guys?
Let's just get real quick. Like I'm familiar from our store. Why don't we just go get the head judge?
All right, I can go grab the head judge for you.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
What's the situation?
Okay, so I here have an appeal for a ruling I haven't given yet, so it will probably be a USC fighter. So Joe, the player at table on the left, is someone I know from my local store. He's pretty competitive, and I think he's going to miss me because I gave him a bad rating about 6 months ago. And the other player pulled me over. I came over, and Joe immediately said, "I would like to get the head judge." I don't know how you want to handle it. If you want to send me back to do the ruling, or you want to take it yourself, I would recommend the USC minor penalty, but let me just wait first.
Okay, so let's go to the table and let's get the full sequence.
Hi, my name is Chris. I'm the head judge for the event. To make sure that I want to understand the situation. So you played a second mox opal and you tapped the weekly first. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm responding to the legend trigger.
Okay. And you have a problem with this.
Yeah, I let him know this isn't how the legend rule works. He said that it changed, it's whatever, but he doesn't seem to be up to date enough with the rules to understand it's actually not true.
Okay, so.
And he didn't believe me, so we want to come.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I want to get the right rule as well.
Okay, that's good. So when we have legendary actions, what's going to happen? It's a state-based action. So immediately one of the legendaries is going to pop off.
But mana abilities don't use a stack. Can I activate it? No.
Legendary permanents are state-based actions. In this situation, we have 2 mox opals. If one of the stacks split after you cast the mox opal, one of them is going to pop.
Oh, that's excellent. You're going to get this game.
Do you have any other questions? Yes, sure.
I guess we're done here.
Other than that, play fun.
Oh, you know what? I'm just going to skip you. Okay, thanks. You gave us okay, so thank you, guys. Does anybody have any comments? Elon?
Don't just immediately go get the head judge. You're a real judge.
He said, "I want a real judge." You are a real judge.
That wouldn't help. No, honestly, like if he had pushed back on that, I would have yelled.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what would have happened in that sort of situation.
Sure.
Okay. That's true. Dylan.
One of the things that I noticed is that if there is a situation where a USC minor is going to be issued, I would encourage the judge to hang around at the table and talk to the player as soon as possible, away from the table, away from the match, away from the opponent. Calmly explain the situation. Obviously, if they're on tilt, you don't want to do that because issuing a USC minor while they're tilting is a terrible idea. Trust me, I know. And so waiting for the situation to de-escalate, calmer heads to prevail, or to find match to finish.
Finding the right time to issue the penalty. Abby.
What are your feelings on saying the head judge not going to the table and the head judge telling their floor judge, I don't want you to issue this to that player?
So in this specific circumstance, it looked like there was kind of a personal animus. It wasn't simply Joe being a jerk, but it was rather he and Eli don't get along. So I think in this case, it might have been better that Chris kind of handles the call in general. On a different circumstance, if there's not like a personal thing, then maybe it's like, no, like, let's get him back to the table and I would have liked to see, like, I'm not sure, Chris, if you were just kind of like ending the thing, but
Yeah, I forgot to actually mention the USC. I was just like, oh, wait.
Yeah, definitely want to issue the USC minor. That can be, take Joe away from the table perhaps and say like, hey, I know you guys have a problem, but he's doing his job. It's not really sporting. Like, be nice. Commend.
One thing, and even if a player asks for the head judge or a different judge, it's still a good idea to try to maybe get some of the information so that when you're getting another judge, it also gives a player time to sort of calm down without saying calm down. When you ask them to relay information, they're no longer thinking about like specifically whatever triggers the explosive action, but also just kind of starts to reset their brain. Hey, before I go get another judge, can you just tell me like why we're over here, like what's up? And then that way, it starts to change their thought process. Changing their thought process can just, in and of itself, de-escalate the situation.
Okay. And CJ.
As the head judge, first of all, I agree with what Eli did, taking the call and being like, all right, I'll go get the head judge, because I feel like that would not cause something to start immediately. So I think that was pretty good. I feel like the head judge should take the other judge away from the table, or the player that asked for the head judge away from the table first, to kind of get an idea of what is going through that player's head, if they're feeling uncomfortable, something like that. Because if there is something that is making them feeling uncomfortable, addressing that is probably why they wanted you to go get the head judge. Taking the player away can also get you a more accurate story of what exactly is going on at the table.
Will.
Echoing what he said, I think it's a micro thing. If a player has a problem with a floor judge, I don't want that floor judge to be over my shoulder when I go back to talk to the player. I just have him on some other task, go deal with it, because if there's conflict between the floor judge and the player.
I'm not entirely sure I agree with that. I think that we don't want to necessarily undermine our judges. If there's like a serious problem, that's one thing, but otherwise it's like Joe in this circumstance was almost completely in the wrong. Like, we shouldn't be undermining Eli and saying, Eli, we're going to remove you from this, unless if Eli says like, no, seriously, we got in a fist fight 2 months ago, it's like, okay, like that's the story. But like he flubbed a call like 6 months ago. Eli.
So my question is there a situation where the head judge would say, I need you guys to let Eli make his ruling, go make the ruling, And if you still have an issue, you can appeal, or should the head judge just make the ruling, notwithstanding the USD thing?
Honestly, I think that's kind of something you gotta get the feel for the situation, and sometimes one approach is right, sometimes it's not. So it's a lot of these things like de-escalation in general. It's a lot about feeling out the situation, saying, okay, what's going to calm things down. Because the thing, if some of you guys were in Nicola's investigation seminar just before this, we want to get players back to playing Magic. So we're not trying to goad Joe into like getting a USC major or anything. We just want to give him the minor thing, say that's not okay, but let's get you back to playing Magic. We're going to move to the next scenario. So I need Chase and Tom. And Chase, I'm going to put you here. Oh. This is the board. All right. And I need one judge. One volunteer judge. Sorry, what's it? Jason. Jason, come on, Jason. Figures. Well, that would have been awesome. Alright, here's the situation for you.
So let's immediately show you the correct way to do it.
Alright. So, we are at GP Vegas 2017. We are all here to have a good time. Except for me, I'm losing. He has a Sun Titan with a batter skull and a sword of fire and ice. And he just played a Cheetah. In Modern Masters 2017. What is cool. Cheetah resolves. Alright, what you got, man? Let's see what we got going on. Alright, so I got a pay for the Cheetah. Sure. Yeah. Gonna go ahead and so you got 2 cards.
Whoa, dude!
Yeah. So,
Holy shit, that's good.
Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and animate my Nexus. Okay. I'm gonna equip the GT onto the Nexus. Yeah, man. Alright, so you got 2.
That is hot fire! What's going on? You want some? I allow alcohol. What's up?
We're going to spectate the match. I'm just going to keep silent. Can people hear me?
No.
Yeah, I use my
Okay.
So you're free to spectate.
Just
Here we go. Okay. So you're free to spectate the match, but if you are going to do that, I'm going to need you to not say anything. If you see something wrong, just have them pause and then I call myself and check that over.
There's nothing wrong with that. This dude's on a tear. Do you see it? He is literally on fire. I don't need to assist this guy. What are you, 8-0 now?
Yeah.
No wonder. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys, please continue playing.
Well, one of them's playing. You got anything else?
Please try not to make any comments.
All right.
Okay.
Tom, you're waiting to go.
Alcohol. Is that maybe fallacious?
Probably not the case.
Okay.
Some TOs, most TOs, whether or not the venue allows it, probably don't want drunk players. What's fun is I've looked into the rules. There's nothing explicitly about intoxication in the rules. It's all about behavior. So Tom could be that drunk, but it's disruptive behavior.
Okay.
On the other hand, the TO probably does want to know that we've got somebody drunk. It's Vegas, but we want to keep some of the Vegas out. Abby.
So just be careful when you have your flask. You were gonna spill it everywhere.
What happened?
More expensive cards.
I mean, he's at 7 to 5 p.m. Take a seat if you like. Oh, yeah. Any other comments on that? Questions? Has anyone?
So one good thing, if you are the opponent, you should also remember, or the judge taking the call, the opponent has the right to ask him to not observe that match. So you might want to talk to the other player and go like, hey, is this actually disruptive to what's going on?
Yeah.
That being one option, I don't think I would ask the players directly. It feels a little bit confrontational, like you're asking them to support this verdict of guilt. In this kind of situation where it's already that disruptive, I would just have them not able to watch that match and have it not be up to the players. I don't want to have the opponent need to feel like they're interfering and giving this guy a hard time.
Yeah, I'm actually on board with that. This was very clearly disruptive. It doesn't matter how much I was losing that game. It doesn't matter that I was basically a scoop and I was just making him go through the motions. There are also other players. Amanda is playing against Invisible Guy. Invisible Stalker. So there are, we do want people to have fun. It is Vegas 2017, but, like the venue might not allow drunk, it's a liability thing. At GP Nashville, I actually pulled this one straight from reality. I had a drunk player, and he wasn't doing anything that was super obnoxious. He was kind of rubbing his friend's shoulders and being a little touchy and but his friend wasn't being dude, knock it off. But he was clearly drunk, and I just had to kind of pull him aside and be like, hey man, this, we're here to have fun, but I don't know, if this is the right kind of fun to be having here. And eventually, I didn't end up giving him a penalty, but I did kind of hand him off to the TO, because the TO was not particularly pleased to know there was a drunk player. James.
I worked at PTQ on the day of the Iron Bowl where Auburn returned that kick for a 100 yards in Florida. So there were a lot of Alabama, this is at a Shriners Lodge. Oh boy. So there were a lot of Alabama fans after that happened. It was round 7. Just, I think, took about 6 or 7 shots and went back to the tournament.
Okay.
They weren't disruptive, but one of them top 8'd and he was not in a state to draft.
So actually,
well-defined draft.
So actually,
Eli.
So it's possible I missed this, and I'm also not sure it affects anything, but I wasn't clear, and I'm not sure if Jason was clear, whether that guy was a random spectator or an actual player, and I don't know if that affects how we deal with the situation.
It really doesn't. Anybody who is not in the active match is considered a spectator, including other players. If they are out of the tournament entirely, they can be entered back in the tournament for penalties. If Kim Kardashian shows up to a Magic tournament and is disruptive, she will get a DCI number, and she will get she will.
How do you know she doesn't have one already?
I don't know. But the point is, in this situation, if we have a penalty to give, we'll look and find out if they're in the tournament. If they're active in the tournament and this penalty affects their tournament, then if we have to disqualify him or ask him to leave the venue for some reason. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter.
You wouldn't say oh, this guy's a player, oh, USC minor him, wait, he's a spectator, it's not worth entering him in the event for that, or anything like that?
I'm still going to assume that he is he's still an active Magic player. I'm assuming that spectators have an interest in Magic. We enter penalties partially for tracking purposes. If he has a habit of getting drunk at tournaments, we want to be able to look this up so that at some point, if he does something that actually is majorly disruptive and gets him DQ'd, the investigations committee can look and say, Crap, he got drunk in like 4 GPs in a row. This guy has a problem. Yeah, it's kind of a tension between like, wasting our time and the scorekeeper's time versus like, being comprehensive. And again, I feel like I sometimes err on the side of not giving penalties enough. And it's like, oh, he's not in the tournament, but like, we should. Like, their tracking is a concern. All right, let's get on to our next scenario. And I believe you're on this one. All right, so on this side. So you want me to be the, well, you are the salty casual. Okay, there's all the casual.
I'm the salty casual.
Yep.
Salty casual. My favorite breakfast treat.
You're not going to tap those. I can do it if you want. Go. Sure. Alright, and I have some from the board. And
Will you be requiring judges for this?
oh yes. Would you like to be our judge?
Nope.
All right. Okay, so this one takes place at a PPTQ. We all know each other. Roughly. Okay. Narrate loudly so that people understand.
Okay, so I have a Vault Scourge, and I have a cranial plating in play. I would like to equip that.
Equip results.
Okay, tap Glimmer Void, equip cranial plating.
All right.
Oh, I also have a signal test in play.
Okay.
Move to combat. I'm going to swing with both of them.
Okay. I'm going to wild slash the signal test.
What's that signal test? Sure. In response, I'm going to. Wait a second. I don't have black mana. Do you mind if we back that up so I can untap the I meant to tap the Dark Soul Citadel. Can I back that up to
Sorry, man. Like, you tapped the Glimmer Void. Like, it happened.
All right. Look. How long have you been playing that for?
I don't know, like 6 months.
Okay, great. I've been playing for 3 years. Let me tell you. Hold on. What's going on? In all my time in Magic, I haven't seen a player who has been that competitive and that awful at letting people take back stuff in casual environments. You are not a good player. Dude. I want you to take your deck, I want you to chop it up, put it in dog food, because that's what you deserve to eat. You are that awful of a player, and I am sorry that whoever has to play you next is going to be forced to sit down with your awful behavior and uncasual, stabby environment.
Okay, so, geez, I just didn't want you to have take back. Let's get a judge and figure out whether.
Oh, sure, now you're gonna call a judge on me? This is casual. There's no such thing as a judge here.
Judge? Well, so
my opponent's being a prick.
I'll listen to you after I look at you one at a time.
Okay. Can I take a moment? Thank you.
Come on, stop wasting my time. I got other things to do.
So, like, he tapped his Glimmer Void, and he like equipped it, and I burnt out the creature he equipped it to, and then he wanted to use the special ability on the plating, but he only had 1 black mana up, and he has colorless, and he wanted to take back, and my friends were like, as a PvP, like, it's kind of serious, like, so no takebacks, so I'm just, and he just like went off on me.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, can you tell me what's happening here?
My opponent's a prick.
I don't know the story. Can you elaborate? Thanks for wasting my time. What's going on here? So, I made a silly mistake when I tapped the wrong land to fit my cranial plate to my creature. And so, in this situation, it was clear that I had meant to save it up because, as we all know, cranial plating has the ability to black, and I had meant to save the black hand. So, it's not like I wanted to take back the action, I just wanted to tap a different land for it. My opponent is now being super salty about it, and he's upset because I'm a better player and I was about to win.
This is a competitive level event, so you're not actually allowed to have your opponent is correct. So I'm not going to be able to let this happen. Okay? Fine, whatever. Okay. So what is currently happening in the border?
So this wild slash was targeting the signal festival, and he said die, but he didn't put it in his graveyard yet. So
Okay, so we're going to resolve the wild slash? Right?
or no, I guess he said it was in response. I forget exactly.
Yeah, my reaction was in response.
Okay.
Going to the equipment. So are you going to move?
Wait a minute. All slash doesn't even kill the damn thing. Wait a minute, does it? It does. What else? No. Casual!
Alright, so we're going to resolve the wild slash? Right?
Yeah, fine, whatever.
Alright. Can I get it with the game now?
So I guess I take one now, right?
Alright, guys.
Yeah, take one.
Okay.
Yep. You know what? Screw you. I'm done with this.
Alright.
Feel free to issue a penalty.
If you're thinking
Use two minor to
not play the game. So he will have 4 minutes in that. I'm going to go find him and talk to him, but you can fill out the match slip as you won the match. Sure. This is where I go to find the player, but there's no one.
No, he's right there.
No, he's right there. Okay,
talk to him.
Alright, so I can't have you going off like this on players at the event. You're really disrupting not only your match, but the matches around you and everyone else at the tournament. So I'm going to have to issue you a penalty for this.
That's nonsense. I'm appealing that.
Excuse me, but I'm a judge too.
Sorry, you cannot appeal to that.
That's bullshit. Alright, you know what? Fine. Take my penalty. You can even, I doesn't even matter. I'm gonna drop from the event. And I'm going to take your name, I'm gonna write a letter to Wizard. I've been playing long enough, I have enough contacts in there, and I'm gonna get you dropped out of the program. I walked away. Do.
Alright.
I always like saying pretty bad.
That's my favorite procedure.
So just for education, the description says, casual player can't believe Spike is being such a rules lawyer. They both know what casual wanted to do, the best play is obvious. Casual has never played against such a jerk. Now this rules lawyer wants to call a judge a casual player? Seriously? Does Spike think casual is a cheater? Way to ham it up.
So what was it? We want them to speak into the mic today?
Just repeat or rephrase.
David.
So Brian, so you said you were going to give a penalty. What penalty do you give here?
I would be
So
giving.
the question is, what penalty would you give?
I would be giving a USC major here. Just because the actions are that disruptive to the event, it makes it nearly impossible for anyone else to play while he's going off like that.
So the answer was USC major. Who in this room agrees with USC major? Does anyone think it should be different?
Mike, aggressive behavior.
Mike says aggressive behavior. Does anyone agree it's aggressive behavior?
I don't disagree.
Some.
Tables.
I also
Did you actually the table, like
Suggestive behavior. Like he's pantomiming. It's hard.
Okay, so for the purposes of discussion, let's assume I did flip the table.
Oh, if you actually flip the table, okay, yeah. That's pretty nice. Okay.
So one of the things, and I know that I guess might have been speeding along the investigation, is sort of asking Steve what he means by "went off on me," because there's like a very big difference between being like, I guess like you don't want to assume that his escalated behavior is that was the same way he started off. So you want to be like, Steve, what do you mean by go off on me? Did he just say like F you? Did he just say? Because like those are two different responses. If he's just like, come on, man, like let me take it back. Like Steve might take that as going off on me versus the rant we heard.
Yeah, I was mainly going off because I was standing over there and I heard it happen. But
yeah, so the context was basically get some context for what I said. Like all I said was he went off on me. Dylan happened to continue hamming it up. It was very clear he was agitated. But the judge probably should, definitely separate us, but ask, did I say anything? It doesn't necessarily excuse Dylan's behavior, but it is worth knowing, like, did I say anything? Were there previous altercations in the match? Has it been tense for 30 minutes and we're picking and picking and picking and finally something comes up and we call a judge versus one blow up something out of the blue? Dylan.
Honestly, even though it does not seem correct, I would probably end up issuing a USC minor here, just because behavior that's exhibited is disruptive to the tournament, but USC major is, as far as I'm aware, usually reserved for something incredibly disruptive to the point of physical contact.
I feel like
that's aggressive.
Yeah, I feel like the language, raising the voice, the language, the direction that it was in alone, kind of it does justify the upgrade to major. Like,
yeah, all right.
It's not just like, oh man, you're a jerk. Like seriously, dude. Like,
could this make Steve feel harassed?
Fair enough. I mean, that's one of those things. I kind of did end up trying to bring it to mind, like feeling a little bit like nervous. Like he was really in my face. Abby.
Yeah, maybe like you got through like water or whatever, like you need to get away from the table.
Yeah.
You were feeling threatened or whatever.
Tom.
Not only that, I think the line that we have to figure out here is like general disruptive behavior for a USC minor versus more targeted behavior, which is what Dylan was, presenting to Steve, which I think crosses outside of the major territory.
Back there, what's your name? Chris.
When he was acting, he was quite clearly creating a hostile permanent environment for you. It's the same as if he was going ethnic slurs at you because you're so white.
Eric.
So one thing I don't know if I would do in this situation is, you were first pulled aside, and then when you came to talk to Dylan, he brought you back. I don't know if I would have done that. I would have maybe found another judge to stand with you away from the table, or swap who's at the table and who's off talking with me.
I like how Eric points out that another judge could have been privileged to keep the players separate. Even if only one player is agitated, even if I was looking smug as fuck, you still I've got him riled up, he got himself riled up, doesn't really matter. Keep the players separate until you can get to a resolution when things get heated. Then, once you're sure they can get back to play Magic, then it's fine, you can get back to that and issue the penalties if needed. But having me come back and talking to Dylan, may not have been the most effective.
Internet?
Joe. Okay, so would it have been better to immediately address the players' attitude and behavior when, right off the bat, when you're at the table, the player said, "I just want to game correct." Shouldn't you just pause there and said, "Well, first of all, we need to keep our language appropriate, something like that, before continuing anything else."
Should we have paused the call as soon as he said my opponent's being afraid? This is one of those things where it's kind of hard to read. That may be the first point where you call over another judge and say, "Hey, I want to separate these guys. Can you elaborate away?" He's on the one hand, I call the judge. I have something to say to the judge. On the other hand, he is more agitated, so it may be more useful just to get him away and say, hey, you know, if you want to talk to me away from the table, what's going on? I'm here to help. You know, like being clear that you're going to hear him first because he seems to think that like calling a judge on him is like a big deal. Like you're like, no, like I'll hear you out first. DJ.
Yeah, so kind of bouncing off that point, I feel like there's basically two ways that the call can go. When a player is very clearly agitated, I'm going to try to project because I don't know if anybody over there can hear what I'm saying. Great, awesome. So when you're at the table and somebody directly like points and says, my opponent blocked, like regardless of what they say, I feel like stopping that behavior at the table is very important, and talking to that player immediately is also very important. That does two things. It establishes you as the authority at that match, so that you give directions, they need to follow those directions, especially when they're being confrontational. And it tends to kind of, sometimes they'll just snap and realize, oh, hey, I'm doing this thing is bad. And they can kind of change their behavior sometimes. Doesn't work all the time. Again, these situations are very kind of hit or miss. Sometimes you can kind of calm them down there and be like, hey, we can't be doing this. Or you just have to take them away from the table and be like, hey, these are the rules, you can't do this. And reading that is important and difficult, but based on the scenario.
What's your name?
Max?
Max, okay.
So, I mean, I was just looking under the IPG, under USC Major. It's a safe environment is a basic expectation of any tournament attendee. Harassment undermines the safety and integrity of a tournament. Players who purposefully create harmful or unwelcoming situations in an event are expected to immediately correct behavior and demonstrate remorse or be removed. In that situation, Dylan did not cease the behavior or demonstrate any remorse. And I feel like for the safety and betterment of the tournament, we need to remove him from the event.
Absolutely.
That is a very good point. Max pointed out that the definition of USC major is regardless of what was said or how it was said, the player does need to come to a resolution and express remorse, even if it's like, I still like him, but like I shouldn't have said those words. The fact that he basically just was like, no, it's a prick, I'm not going to take it back. It's like, okay, well, we can't have him here. Like, he's going to have to remove that in this qualification.
So, also in the IPG, because I'm looking under aggressive behavior, and the definition for aggressive behavior is one sentence. A player acts in a threatening way towards others or their property. And one of the lines that I thought crossed the line there, in addition to the table flips, which is actually just example was saying, Steve, you should cut up your dog food back into a bunch of little pieces, because you're dog food. That's what you are. This, like that to me, if that happened to me at a tournament, I would feel so uncomfortable. I would be so rattled. I wouldn't want to play against that player. I wouldn't even want to finish my match.
Yeah, that's actually one of those things where you can kind of solicit other players as witnesses, because maybe the judge didn't hear that I'm dog food, but I'm sure one of the players did. Like that got heated real fast, and there's definitely going to be some witnesses. And with 10 minutes left, I'm going to get Elliot up here for our last scenario. And of course, I need a volunteer judge.
Here you go. And so here we are at, I don't know, let's call it an SCG Open. We're in like the last couple of rounds. Ellie and I are both doing real well. We're having a good time, and pairings just went up. And, okay, pairings, here we go.
Dude, you're paired against Gabby. Hope you're ready to lose to a girl.
Just saying.
Excuse me, I'd like to talk to you about a moment.
Sure.
Just gonna go play a match. Good luck, buddy.
I'm sorry, but
I want to play basketball before.
you would like not to use that sort of language here or anywhere really, but definitely not here.
What language?
Please do not use language that refers to people makes people feel lesser because of who they are. You can do the comment that someone who has it's a girl, they don't have to worry. That's not something we should be saying here.
Alright, fair enough. Each guy can get a player. Just give my buddy a look at.
Yes, but it has an effect on the other players who may have overheard. So it's this is not something that we should be saying out loud. And I hope you understand that we want to keep this place a safe place for all the people here so that more people might be able to play this game in the future. So thank you for your understanding there.
Fair enough.
Thank you. Is everyone here?
Yeah, good. Okay. All right. So, any comments? Go on.
I 100% would have given USC minor for that.
USC minor. Who would give USC minor for this? Who in this room would want to give USC minor, but might not because they're not super confident that it would go well? Yeah, this one's hard. We really sometimes have to straddle this line between we want to give out the penalties, but we don't want to seem like penalty robots or jerks. And it's hard because overall we definitely know that this is wrong, but in the moment it's just making a joke. What's the big deal? Elliot.
Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing.
Granted.
So one of the reasons why I would potentially not give USC minor in this specific situation is, as we heard during the investigation, it seems that Elliot knows Gabby, and that there's a chance that the player that he said it to also knows this Gabby person, and it seems that even if he made somewhat of a slightly inappropriate joke, that it might just be banter, and if it's dependent on how you read the investigation, sort of determines how I would rule. It seems like if he's understanding that might not have been the best thing to say, but he's like, hey, we both know the person, it's more of just a banter that we have.
The point was that depending on what the situation is, maybe it's an in-joke, maybe it's slightly inappropriate in-joke, but it's not a overt slur or anything like that. That's where your investigation skills can kind of come in handy. So go back in time about 2 hours, attend Nicholas' seminar, and learn more about investigations.
Yeah. In seeing how the scenario played out, where this is right in front of the pairing board, unless this is some weird situation where both of these players were in the restroom and no one else is around, generally there's a lot of players near the pairing board when the pairings are on the pairing board. So this is very likely to make some of them uncomfortable, independent of who knows who and whether Gabby also thinks it's a joke. There's just tons of people there. Maybe some of them are girls, maybe none of them are girls, and some of them can still be offended.
So audience is important depending on where you are. If people are at a remote table and just jokingly happen to walk by, no one else is around, versus the parents board where we were supposed to have been. Abby?
I've had quite similar situations happen to me. At my local game store, a female was attending an event and she was doing very well, and everyone was making fun of everyone she beat and saying, "Ah, you got beat by a girl." I've never seen her. This was probably a good 6 months ago.
Mike?
The only reason that I would shy away from giving the minor would be because Elliot immediately acknowledged that, yeah, what you're saying is right, and I probably shouldn't have said that in express purpose. He didn't try to argue the point or, he said, well, let's give it a shit. He's like, oh, yeah, you're kind of right.
Yeah, that can be a point too. Immediate remorse, if it's one of those my bad sort of situations. Like I said before, tracking is important, but the talking to them and having this conversation may be enough, and keeping the tournament flowing, not having to figure out where they're sitting and getting the matchup and filling out the morning, that can be a mitigating factor.
Sorry, your name back there.
NJ. NJ.
One thing I'd follow up to that is not just judge, but also understanding that regardless of whether or not it's in joke between Dane or Brendan, even Gabby, that it does harm the community around them, and they need to not just be remorseful that, if someone thinks they shouldn't be doing that, but that they're actually harming the community around them, and that they need to actively avoid saying things like that, even if it's a commonly accepted joke, because they are harming the community around them. And they shouldn't just feel remorseful to the judge or to other people they know about that. They should feel remorseful to the entire community.
Ensuring the damage is understood to the community as a whole, not just like remorse, oh my god, remorse, like I understand this was not right. Call a couple people. James?
So something that, with like the whole in-joke argument, I feel like there's harm when you say something like lose to a girl, because like, if it was an in-joke and they're all friends, Ellie could have just been like, I hope you're ready to lose, ha 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 ha. And it doesn't you don't have to bring the gender of the person or whatever that it might be in whatever situation.
So the definition for USC minor includes one, it may affect the comfort level of those around the individual, but that is not necessary to determine that fact when assessing USC minor.
Right. It may affect the comfort, but is not necessary.
One of the things that I have interacted with multiple players who have presented comments like that, and sometimes they're not necessarily aware of how degrading that phrase can be, or even the true implications of the word. And so there's a good chance that, or as good practice, or as a good policy, you should always sit down and explain what the policy is. When we're judging an event, when we issue a penalty, it's good to sit down and explain what is going on. In this case, it is also good to explain so that all the players can learn. Even if the person who made the joke is not aware of that or does not think that it is that offensive, it is important to stress that while they can make, or if that comes up, it's okay to say, while you can make that joke in a different environment, when it comes to a Magic tournament, these are the rules that we have.
Stressing that we have rules and expectations at tournaments, and we're not trying to stifle them personally, we are just trying to adhere to expectations behavior at our events. So I'll hand over there. Sorry, your name?
Lene.
Lene.
I was just, I don't know, it's not as formal a question, but it's kind of an interesting thing when to take a call like that, I would find it challenging to make about, like, I'm not bothered by a lot of that kind of stuff. Like, for instance, Magic for a bunch of guys and I have to like take myself out of that for a second and think, yeah, but if it's your first time here and that's how you're hearing things, then it is going to affect that. And I do have friends who don't feel as well because I was like, so I think, yeah, I think it's just really keep a big picture perspective, even if it's something that's not topic to you in particular. And I think that it's probably good to think about like how to make sure that they're understanding about
For those of you who can hear, basically the upshot is take yourself out of the situation, think about how another person could take it rather than just surviving it. We are out of time. Thank you very much, and one more thing, your feedback is very important to me. This is the first time I've done this seminar, so if you can think of other scenarios, if you'd like to work with me to make this better, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm very open to constructive criticism. Thank you.
All right, judges, it is 12.